Hello again and welcome to another episode of the Franchise Everything podcast, where we talk about everything and anything franchising. And today I'm at a new franchise called Mobile Experts in Sydney, and I'm joined by CEO Varun Ashok and also the GM Stuart Cameron. Gents, morning, how are you?
Good morning. Thanks for having us.
Good morning. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having us there. We've been talking for a few weeks, haven't we, about what we're gonna talk about over this little period here.
Yes. It's been fun last few weeks.
Yeah.
And here we are. It was all in the works, and now it's in front of us.
Yeah, ready to go, and everyone's really looking forward to it, I know.
Yeah, very much so.
So Mobile Experts, let's start with that. So you're basically a new franchise, and you're the weirdest new franchise out there because you're a new franchise with 60 locations. So tell us about what Mobile Experts is, Varun.
Mobile Experts, 12 years old, in the making, and 65 locations.
Yep. And is that across all states across Australia?
6 states.
Yep.
6 states, yes, and we're growing. And we're growing. We got about maybe 5 to 6 stores more coming this year as well.
Wow.
And we just opened, last week, we opened four new stores.
4 new stores
just
in a week.
Within 1 week.
Yeah. I bet ops liked that. How did you go with that, Stuart?
Yeah, look, it's one of those things that I think once you've got it down to a rhythm and a pattern in terms of how operationally how you structure it, it works, and it works well. Yeah. But again, the only reason we can do it is because of the team we've got. These guys are experts at what they do, and they've done it 61 times prior to this. So.
Yeah. Yes. So your Mobile Experts, you've been around since about, 2014, I think you told me? 2013. So what actually do you do? What space in the market do you operate in, and what services do you offer?
In terms of service, our business is split into 3 categories. Mm-hmm. 3, right? So we phone and iPad accessories, and repairs is another part of the business, which we offer on-the-spot repairs. Yeah. And we do pre-owned and new outright devices sales as well.
So imagine that's a pretty big market, isn't it? Because how many times you drop your phones and, especially repairs, I'd imagine.
Look, even in Australia, I mean, the saturation point of devices in Australia is past 100%. So many people actually have multiple devices, and then you've got tablets you incorporate into that. We also do laptop repairs. So it's a huge market. It's also a highly competitive market. So you've got to make sure you've got the right team and the right business behind you to do it. So.
Yeah. So we're going to talk about the business model in this thing, and your franchise business model. So you've obviously got 2013, it's 2025 now, so 12 years in, so you know your business really well, and now you've decided to franchise it. So can we just start on something a little side? What was the rationale, the thinking behind moving to franchising? Because you're obviously a clearly successful retailer in so many stores. What is just a brief point on the move to franchising and why you've sort of gone down that path?
There's multiple reasons why we want to go franchising. I think the biggest and the most important one is giving a pathway to people we have in the business.
Yep.
Right? Yeah, we have a lot of employees within the business, and they aspire to be business owner. So we want to create a pathway for them in a way to be business owner.
So you've got a lot of people who've been in it for many, many years, running kiosks all across the country?
Yes, there's a lot of loyalty piece, and people who actually, I was one of them myself, right? And I was working for Vodafone, and then I wanted to have my own business, right? And there was nobody to help me. But I want to be the helping hand for my employees and technicians across the country. So I give them the pathway and coach them through, mentor them through, and making sure that mistakes I made early on in the business, they don't make it.
Okay, so the people side to it, how does it work from a corporate perspective? Because you've got a fair proven concept over 60 plus stores. So how does it work from a corporate level? Isn't it, is it better financially to just keep doing a bunch of corporate stores, or does that franchise model really kick in?
There is another reason again. It's scalability as well, and scalability is one of the another reason why we want to go, because the customer's looking for support, and they don't have the right operators near their places.
Yep. So more locations.
Remote locations. You're talking about Dubbo and Orange. Just go out 4 hours out of any state from the central of the city. Right, any city, like all cities, right?
And 4 hours out, and try and get a brand that you know and trust and it's credible.
Yeah, correct. And so that's piece is missing, right? And then we want to, with the help of franchising and giving the ownership touch to that, right? So it also helps, the personalization and the customer satisfaction which an owner can give to their scalability and keeping our procedures and process in mind and keeping the brand value with them. So that's what we're seeking. You know,
The other key element as well is also along the lines of the next steps for us as a business. Like Varun mentioned, talked about scalability, and the next element for us as a business is to see that next level of growth. Whenever you run a company-owned business, there's a threshold. Once you reach that threshold, it gets to a point where operationally there's a certain level that you just can't achieve. We're sort of at that stage now, and for us to grow, which we have plans to grow significantly, as Ron said, we've opened 4 stores in a week, and we have another 5 before the end of the year. To us, to get to that level, we need to start bringing in, incorporating people into our business that are driving the stores on a day-to-day basis, and our staff do a great job of that. But we're limited to a certain element. The drive that an owner has over an employee is very different.
Yeah, it's that owner v manager sort of thing. That owner
100%.
with the skin in the game is going to see a real return.
Yeah.
Just that. I mean, it's not that employees aren't great, obviously, as you've said, but just that little bit more buy-in, isn't there?
Yes, and also it gives a bit of a spin to our resources as well, right? We can reallocate our resources within the business to channel into innovation and invest in the future, right? And product development.
Yeah.
Right. And there are a few elements like that. We can rejig our designs and make it more fashionable, more customer centric.
Yeah,
right?
more responsive.
Interactive,
Yeah, more responsive.
right?
Yeah.
So there's so much things we can do within the business, and we're going to reallocate the resources within the business to grow the brand. And create more awareness and go to the more community kind of the bonding, you know.
So in doing this, in launching the franchise model, you've gone for what we term in the franchise business as a turnkey approach. So in getting people into their businesses and getting them up and running. So can you talk us through that approach, I suppose, from an operations perspective, Stuart? I suppose
definitely. Definitely. Look, with 12 years experience comes a lot of mistakes, but also comes a lot of learnings. And that's probably the key, is that we're at a stage from our business perspective where we've got a model that works. It's proven, it's a good track record. But operationally, it's so important as a business to have elements that enables you to get that foot in the door early. Like I said, it's highly competitive. And one of the things that we provide is operationally key elements that a lot of people will make mistakes in terms of trying to create this business from scratch themselves.
And you do see a lot. There are a lot of independents out there in shopping centres all across the country, isn't there?
Yeah, there's
one-man bands.
Yeah, correct. There's a huge amount. And that's not saying that they're making mistakes, but it is very hard to go in there. There's a lot of what comes with scale. Also comes the ability for us to provide them key tools to make sure it's successful. It's not, like you said, it's not a guessing game. It's we have a model that's going to work for them. And there's some key points to that. We talk about things like business analytics to make decisions that we know are going to be successful. It's not a guessing game. We talk about access to key sites, key relationships with shopping centres to make sure that we get access to the good sites. Key relationships with national and global suppliers of products, generating the best possible commercial terms to enable our franchisees to carry a high margin level business.
Yeah. And that all sort of fits into that turnkey approach for someone coming into a business, doesn't it? So all 100%. Those things are, and the concept of turnkey, I think, gets thrown around probably a bit too much.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people say, look, it's turnkey as if you don't have to do anything at all. But I think it sounds like that is a 13-year sort of evolution of everything all coming down to a store being open, ready to go.
Yeah. There is another one element to it. It's a fit out element.
Yeah.
Right. And a lease element. There is, we probably talk about in detail at some point. But fit out is a big one. When we opened the first store, I thought, why I'm paying $70,000-$80,000 here to fit out, let me just bring it from overseas.
Yes.
So I had some point of contacts in India, and I got all the container,
a container of shop items,
fitting, right? Yeah. And then that journey became a nightmare.
Yeah.
And people think, they can go to overseas and get fit out done for 1/3 the value. But what's involved is, the logistics, it's crazy. And, customs.
Exactly. And one thing goes wrong and that margin that you just saved
disappears.
Gets wiped.
Yeah. And also, and the other element is you are working on tight timelines.
Yeah.
Right. So your rent start date is X, right? You miss that rent start date by 30 days, 40 days. There are experiences like that.
And that saving has disappeared, hasn't it? You're actually on the tail end of it.
Goes really, really quickly out of the window. And compliance.
Yeah.
People don't understand compliance, certification on council, local certifiers. There's so much to it, which I went into it unknown. Yeah. And I paid a huge cost for it. it almost put me to bankruptcy. Like the
Yeah,
first
when you
site
started
already.
your first, because
Yeah.
what you started in 2013, you said,
Yeah.
with just a single location yourself, setting up in a shopping centre.
I mean, you imagine,
What shopping centre was it? Where'd you?
Wetherill Park, Stocklands.
Yeah.
So think about it. You have a budget of $60,000 to open a store,
Yeah.
right? And that blows out to $120,000, and within 1 or 2 weeks you have to arrange that funds.
Yeah.
So imagine that, right? Because there's element surprises.
Yes.
It's huge. There's a lot of moving parts to bring in kiosks or the fit out from overseas,
Yeah.
which people think it's a walk in the park.
Well, there's a lot of moving parts to fitting out a store in a shopping centre from anywhere, isn't there? There's a lot of things.
Even for us, logistically, I mean, we opened 4 stores in the last week, and even logistically, to actually understand what goes into having the products there at the right time, to have them merchandised, to have them displays, like Varun said, to decrease the downtime of actually not operating, is huge. And the other big element for that, leasing fit out is huge and a key part of it. The other one is the product. So a lot of people don't really quite understand within our industry, there's a lot of Me Too products. There's a lot of products that everyone carries in every shopping centre, and we'll have anywhere up to 6 to 7 competitors in any centre. If they all carry the exact same product, it's a race to the bottom on price.
Yep.
What we provide, and that's probably the key for us and what we've learned, we've developed our own brand under MVR, which is a completely exclusive brand to us. It's a feature-rich, high-margin range. That it means that we can take it into a centre, very confidently sell it for higher average sale pricing to maintain that high level of margin to also then increase our profitability, which anyone coming into this business wouldn't have, because they're going to go to a supplier that sells to every other kiosk retailer in Australia.
Yeah, and the race to the bottom.
It's a huge
Everyone
race to the
loses.
bottom.
Everyone loses. You mentioned something before, and it links to this, is your data and intelligence.
Yes.
So given your trading life, how long you've been trading for, the amount of business data must be significant that you have. So how do you use that to make decisions, and what does your data capture look like? And, I can imagine that it's involving your purchasing and your pricing, is your own product range. Tell us about your
100%.
structures behind that.
So look, one of the key elements that our business has invested in, and it was a very, very smart move by Varun, was we spent millions of dollars on a software program that enabled us to not only understand where our business needed to head for the future, but more importantly, to help everyone involved in our business make educated decisions and analytical decisions based on the data. Everything that we do in our business is run based on the data. We do have an element of gut feel, but it's all based on the data. So when we come out with a new product, a new range, a new color, a new category, it's not a guessing game. We know exactly where it's going to hit. We know the volumes we need to do. It helps us with forecasting. It helps us with inventory. It helps us with pricing. We understand the overall market where that sits, and it's absolutely key. The second part of that is the business analytic element that would also that franchisees also would have, which is through Power BI, because the software we use is Microsoft Dynamics.
Yep.
So it's the Power BI program that enables them to do it. So they have complete control and understanding over their business as well. And you can't just step into a business and create that yourself without a huge investment. Or 2 years of integrating all that data into the business.
That's how long it take to get all that data in? Is that from previous sales? Were you able to bring that historical data across, or what did you do with it? Or did you get to a point where a certain length of time ago makes no difference now?
Franchisees will have the access to the data, right?
Yeah.
If they're getting access to a site which has a age of 80 years, for example, they will have 80 years of data and the intelligence and the trends, how things have moved, right? It could be a store could have a 30% repair share, and then 60% accessory share, and 10% outright device share. But another site could have 50% of repair share and 50% of accessory share, no device
Just
share.
depends on the
Right?
location.
So we know exactly where to allocate funds, right? Because we know we have tried this before and we have failed it, because you know what, this demographically, these products and this price category doesn't fit. So they don't have to invest money into something which doesn't work, and we already tried and tested it. So that also helps your cash flow, and you're not making mistakes, because it's very important in a business. People know what to do, and I think it's more important. What we have learned into our 12 years is what not to do is more important than what to do. Right, and then this system enables us to tell us to do that.
So did it take a bit of time for you to get to the point, especially when you started Varun, that you decided that the race to the bottom wasn't going to win? Like, did it take a little evolution of stuff? Because I imagine going into a new kiosk and everything in a shopping centre, even in 2013, well, yeah, you're right. Everyone's got the same screen protectors. Everyone's got the same whatever. Right. So when we talk about your product range now, At what point did you start to invest in your own product range and really up the premium
I
pricing?
think there is always you come up with a challenge and then you find a solution, right? So our exclusive brand MVR is actually a solution to a challenge we had, right? So 2 years ago when we went out and manufactured this brand and research about these products and stuff like that. So the challenge was rent was increasing every year 5%. Yep. Right, during COVID, it increased about to 8 to 10%. Yeah. Because of CPI, it was going based on CPI plus 2.5% or 3%. Right, so CPI went from 2% to 7%. So your overall rent annual increase was up to 10%. Right, and you have that of increased rent and increased wages every year. You see a 3 to 5% increase on wages. Right, and then you need to have a growth on sales. Right, and how you bring the growth on sales. On the other hand, we're also getting done by there's new stores opening.
Yeah, more competition in the same shopping centre.
Right, so more people coming in the centre. Right, your rent's going up, your wages going up, and where do you really find? How do you survive in that market? Right, when everybody coming at you. Right, so we went out and say, we're going to create something unique, and so we can control our RRPs and maybe even push our ASPs up and increase our margins, and in return, we brought this product with a high feature-rich products, right? And so customer is not losing because they're paying top dollars, but they're getting the products, and it's a very highly competitive product. And how do we do it? Because we have the quantity behind us, because we have the buying power, because we have a number of stores. So it just kind of the whole mix. It just kind of helps the whole process.
Okay, so when did you start your own product range? When was
2 years ago?
2 years ago. Okay, all right. So that's still rolling through as well. But so it's interesting that data you have. Then you've got 2 years of data in for it now, anyway, don't you?
Yeah, 100%. And even new categories, like even just the last Christmas gone, we've introduced 3 new categories we're moving into, and we're identifying the advantages. We're identifying where those trends could go. We're also identifying how to start to integrate. So one of the key things with our business as well is there's a lot of factors in our business we can't control, like traffic flow. We can do our best from a marketing standpoint. We invest a lot of money into it. But the other key element is that we also need to focus in our business what we can control, and that's how our staff sell, what they sell, and giving them the tools to enable them to do that. So we've put a huge focus on that in the last 2 years about providing incentives for our staff, and through the franchise model will be very similar to get them to sell higher ASP or average sale price, but also sell multiple items per transaction. It's not about trying to sell more to people. It's about solving problems for consumers, and consumers are looking for solutions in their car so they're not getting fined. They're looking for solutions to charge their phone beside their bed. They're looking for protective cases that mean that their phone's not going to get damaged. They're looking for camera lens rather than having to pay $150 to replace the camera lens on the back of your phone, actually providing a protection for it. We're talking about speaker solutions. We're talking about charging solutions. Travel solutions. So it's not about just trying to sell more. It's about making sure you're servicing that need.
Yeah, it's not just shoving stuff down their throat.
Correct. Yeah.
Didn't you say something the other day about impulse buys at Christmas?
Definitely.
Can you touch on that again? Like, you told me about the impact that had when you just added a number of items there for impulse purchases to a solution to a problem, people looking for gifts.
Yeah, so look, one of the challenges in any retail business is retail execution. And retail execution is all about having the right products in the right place at the right time for the right price. Yep. One of the things that we focused on and put a lot of effort into over Christmas was taking products out of standardized cabinet displays, which is where our industry kind of sits, and coming up with creative displays, and some of them you can see behind Varun there, and integrating them into our store at the point of sale of cash register. And they were 4 new categories that we'd never had in our business before. And by executing them with the right retail execution at the right price point, we saw a significant increase in not only our average invoice value or our average docket value, but also in the fact that we actually expanded the product range that we were selling under our own brand. And during Christmas period, we saw significant growth off the back of it. It was just simply about executing at the right time.
Excellent. Let's talk about entry costs. So you pride yourself in our discussions on being a low entry cost is what you're trying to achieve there for people looking to get into business, and in particular that you're wanting to help existing employees get into the business. Can you talk through your entry costs and what that all looks like across your franchise model?
I think in terms of entry costs, we got two models to start with, right? We have existing stores, which we are going to franchise.
So
and
you're franchise. So I get this right. You're franchising all of the, or pretty much all of the existing stores.
Some of the
you're going to keep some company ones.
So we keep company owns as well, and we say we split in half, right? According to some data, right? And then we say we take with 30 and test the market and give some opportunity in the market, and we have a price strategy around that. And then all the new they have new sites. So the sites we're opening, we're also putting that out. So for existing stores, we put down as low as $50,000 to own the business, pretty much, right? $50,000, which probably costed us anywhere from $120,000 to $280,000
to fit it out, to build it,
to fit it on everything.
So that $50K is what? Is
just to
franchise?
Is
a franchise fee or
You own the business under our franchise, and then you pay a monthly royalty on it, right? But again, $50,000 to open the business. I didn't have that option. If I had that option, I would have opened in 2007, not 2013, right? So
you would have got there a lot faster.
Yeah, really. And every time any business owner who's present today, they know it. When they open a business, they're like, you know what, I should have done this 5 years ago. Everybody says that. I should have done this 5 years ago, right? So we want to make sure the employees we have or people out there outside our organization and who are the right suited and with the right attitude and the right people for our business. And we want them to come into our business with a low entry cost, right? But we just want to make sure we're very strict on processing our applicants. For franchises, they need to be the right people because we want the right people in the business.
Of course.
Because we have company-owned stores. We are not desperate to franchise, but we want to franchise, and the reasons we have given before.
Yeah. So that there's two entries then. I mean, but this will be for a limited time because there's only so long you're going to have the handful of stores.
Yeah, look, even as Ron said, some of the existing stores that we're doing for $50,000, it's about getting the right people in the business. So these are reasonably high-performing stores at the moment already, profitable stores in key centres and locations. And yeah, we've got. They range in price, but we've got quite a few that are sitting at sort of $50,000 just to get the right people in the business to get it up and running. And it's an investment that we're making into the future because at the end of the day, part of the reason why we also want to franchise is about continuing to reinvest in our business and innovate our business. And to do that, we need some support by bringing really sort of some new blood and some existing blood into the business to help us get to that stage.
Yeah, I think we'll end up obviously doing a few more different content pieces about entry costs and so on there because that stream, it's unusual. Like I said, you're an unusual entrant into franchising already with 60 locations ready to sell some existing ones. So that I think there's a bit more depth to go into.
Yeah, we were talking
right
internally, Stuart and I was discussing. I'm like, hang on, we priced them like this. And I'm like, it's going to be too good to be true because it's just got something unheard of.
And that's a true thing, as people can sort of roll their eyes over it and think, well, it doesn't make sense.
Just put your inquiry in and then we show you that, you know what, this is what it is. It is 50,000 only. And then you just pay for your stock and your bank guarantees and you off to go, right?
And you're away.
You don't have to spend $200,000 on fit out or $150,000 on fit out and go through the headache of going through that, right? It could be a 3 to 6 months process. Right. And also, which we understand.
I think the average is 6 months. I think at least stretching out to 9 months. I mean, 6 to 9 months there for an average franchise entrance.
And what things can go wrong during the process? Well, we don't even touch about that, right? And also, which is I think it's the highly important thing here is it's A-grade sites. The center, the sites access we have, they're not available in the market. So these are not something, you know what, we're not going to get, for example, we have a location in Parramatta, right? So, this is Parramatta location. If someone can go into the landlord and get a location. No,
it's interesting.
It doesn't work like that.
When we get inquiries through our franchise buyer platform for brands, often they are people asking for specific locations, like a specific shopping centre. Is what people are after, because they know the traffic. They're obviously local, they know the traffic, they know everything about it. So people really do go by location. That leads me on to your. So leasing can be very expensive. We've already talked about the traps at times of leasing. So how do you manage the leasing approach and how are you going to manage that going forward from a franchise perspective? I suppose much wouldn't change, would it, from what you've already been doing leasing-wise for your corporate stores?
Leases are already under our name of the existing stores, right? So new sites, we have an option to do under a franchisee or the company owned. Depends how the negotiation goes through. Some people are okay to take lease under their name.
So you don't mind either way?
Well, we say case-to-case basis.
Yeah, okay.
Case-to-case basis, we see what the applicants look like. And again, our top priority is the right of people we want to partner with, right? And in terms of existing sites, we cannot transfer the leases.
No, of course,
because it's
yeah,
under our name. Because we partner with major landlords, and they work on low risk. For them, we are low risk and high performers. So, and they don't want to partner with somebody who's new to the business, have no prior history, and they consider us high risk. And also, they probably ask for 6 months bank guarantee.
Yeah, well, being like one-off independent type ones, they're a much higher risk than a national brand.
And it's also part of the conversation we're having about the downfalls of trying to get into the industry itself. Is like Varun said, it's part of the reason why they want to partner with us is because we're a much lower risk for the landlords. And
so this is the shopping centres.
Yeah, shopping centres, and they actually approach us specifically. We're given sites constantly for new existing sites or new sites, and the reason for that is because they're not looking for small independents to open sites because they are a risk to a degree because they're an unknown. Yeah. The advantage of us is we've got 65 stores in a business of 12 years history to back them. So that's why they come in through us. And again, that's why it's a strength of partnering with someone like us for a franchise instead of trying to do it on your own.
So you're often finding that you're getting offers for sites from existing people in your niche. So, for example, that site's failed and they want to put another phone accessory there?
All the time.
Yeah.
So sometimes they come up with renewal and they want a new fit out, and the existing guy's like, we don't want to do fit out. We don't want to spend money on it. But when we get a renewal, landlord's like, would you give it a facelift on it? And we spend like $50,000 to facelift it. Yeah. Because it's not just for the landlord what it's seeking, right? You need to also, it's from a brand's perspective, you need to look shimmick and up to the mark, right? Some centers, they do a portion of upgrades within the center, and then your store, which is 5 years old, start to look older. Right, it looks tired, right? So that's as a brand,
it catches you out, doesn't it?
Correct,
when the trends change.
And we go out and we spend money at it, and then and then we facelift it, and you also see increased sales as a back of it, and that's why the major landlords back us up, because when the chips are down, when they're asking you to do X, Y, and Z in the business, and we deliver it, and we actually do volunteer upgrades left, right, and center. And they don't ask it, and that's the reason why they partner with
But
us.
To answer your question, yeah, without a doubt, there's quite a few independents that struggle, and it's because they have no point of difference in their offering. They struggle. They pick up a really good site if they can get one, and they overpay on the rent because they fall into the pitfalls a lot of small independents do when they're only getting their first lease.
Yep.
So there's a lot of reasons why they do fail, but at the same time, for us, it's about picking up those sites and continuing to look to expand. So it happens daily. I mean, Varun will get 4 or 5 sites a week over his desk.
Wow. Are there shopping centre chains that you're tending to do more deals than others, or you're finding it's quite spread across your growth actually that you've already had?
Yeah, there are some major players, and it's shifting as well. We have the most sites with Central Group, which is Westfield. So we got about close to 35 sites with them. So you can call it like 50% of the portfolio is
at least
Westfield.
Decent. It's decent.
And then you have Stockland. They got a fair bit. Vicinity. There's another landlord, and GPT.
Yes.
GPT quite expanding their portfolio in the shopping center space. So again, we have a great relationship with them, and they are maybe to five players, but they're up to 10. There are some private landlords as well.
Yeah. So you're talking about shopping centres and the space and everything there in your market presence. So where are you seeing the future for your growth there? You talked about regionals a bit there, and regionals can be challenging for many franchise brands to crack into. Where do you see the future going from a market presence and growing your brand? If you're 65 locations now, what are the sort of the main areas you're looking at?
There's probably some major sectors. WA for us, without a doubt, is a growth sector. So South Australia, because they're less saturated. When you get into the Sydney, Brisbane and Victorian market, they can be extremely saturated, particularly in our space.
Yeah, I can imagine.
But at the same time, it doesn't mean we're not growing. Like we just literally opened one in Victoria, one in Queensland, one in Sydney. So in saying that, there's still always opportunities for us. But one of the key things definitely is looking for a regional footprint. It's very much a growing sector now in the Australian economy, particularly after COVID. A lot of people started moving away from some of the cities.
Sure.
And our strategy with that is about trying to get someone that can own a community. It's not a matter of just opening a store in a community, particularly when you get regional. It's about getting in there and supporting the community, and really getting the community behind you. And so you are one of the community members. So that's kind of where we're heading with that. So we're looking for, again, for the right people in those areas. We don't necessarily ourselves as a company-owned business want to push to regional, but if we find the right franchisees and they're in a regional town and they feel like this is a great opportunity and it could work, our model 100% works regionally without a doubt, because we do have some regional stores in places like Geelong and other regions.
Yeah, and I imagine for your repairs, I'd imagine your repairs would be fairly significant opportunities in regional areas, because there wouldn't be many around, would there? Options.
We get mail-in options. So people have spoken to us and they want us, even customers, we get mail-in options. We get repairs in to a head office and we fix them and send it back. So that shows that there's a demand. And then other thing is landlord are seeking, reaching out to us and say, you know what, do you want to open a store? And we've been saying no for like 4 to 5 years. And we want to just take that opportunity hands-on and say, you know, how can we achieve this operationally, because we are so close to our business and our operations is everything for us, right? And we're not quite ready to go that far with our company-owned stores.
Yeah, it's basically going that far on your own, isn't it? But if you're going out with a franchisee, and you're perfectly right, is that regional one-store town, one big shopping centre, and they know everyone around.
Yep.
That's a perfect fit for just about any franchise, to be honest with you.
Yes.
Who's the face of their business?
Well, and it also fits, like I said, fits in with our model, because even when we're in big centres in Sydney, it's still all about localised service. Like, I find it hilarious when I go out to all of our stores and you'll literally be standing there talking to the store manager or the store leader, and they'll have 20 people walk past, hey, how are you today? What's going on? And they own that community within that space as well. So our model does also fit regional as well.
Excellent. All right, I think we've covered heaps. Don't you reckon?
That's good.
Varun, Stuart, thanks so much for joining us today. And we'll no doubt we'll be chatting a lot more soon.
Yeah,
sounds good. Thanks for that. See you.
And that's it for another one of the Franchise Everything podcast. A very different franchise, a brand new one, but with a lot of sites already. If you like this thing, please share, subscribe, do all that sort of stuff. And we'll catch you in the next one soon.